Good afternoon, everybody. I'm back. I hope everyone's having a great afternoon. Wanted to get on here. I'm doing this on Facebook from now on. All of my broadcasts. After the last YouTube video, I went and looked through it. And even my daughter said it's probably one of the worst recordings. So I do apologize for that last broadcast on YouTube with the full moon forecast. It was awful. And I really don't know what's going on with YouTube. And I know it's not my equipment because I'm able to go through Facebook Live. Hi, Debbie. How you doing? Happy holidays. Mwah. Miss you, girl. I don't know what's going on, but every time I record through here, I have no problem. So I'm just going to continue with this. I'm done trying. But anyway, I wanted to get on here because I got my last witch box of the season. And this one is through a company called Tamed Wild. This is becoming quite an addiction for me. And so I have to stop for a little bit. But this is the last one of the year for me until I relocate. And this is the holiday one, as you could tell with all the holly berry on it. This one's really cool. A lot of the witches boxes for this season are a lot about shadow working, as December is quite the month for shadow working. Not also because it's a new year, even though it's not the witches' new year. That happens on Halloween. It is a new year on the calendar. And so, like tradition, the calendar, we always make our, what do you call them? New Year's resolutions and things that we're going to change in the next year, things like that. So shadow working comes into play with that, getting rid of the old, bringing in the new you, the new mentality, the new job, the new home, anything, letting go and ridding of the negative. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this witch box I got. And I do have to put my, as I'm getting older, I'm getting blinder and blinder. So I have to put the flashlight on the phone in order to read this to you. And before I do that, I'm not a big Kmart shopper. I never really have been. I was when I was a kid because that was one of the only stores that was around back then, back in the day, a long time ago. But I happened to be in there a couple of weeks ago because they were closing. They're closing the store near me, as I'm sure they're closing all Kmarts nationwide. But as I was looking through one of the racks, my mom was doing some shopping there for herself. I came across this shirt clearanced out for like $6. So I don't know if you could see it, but it is so me. Moonchild. So me. I had to have it. And I very rarely buy clothing for myself. So, yes, I'm sporting my Moonchild shirt today. Anyway, this is all about this Tamed Wild box. Back to the Tamed Wild box. This is all about the kitchen witch. And how many of you out there are kitchen witches? I know I am. You know, one thing about cooking is what do cooks do? They make magic in the kitchen with the bubbling pot of something yummy to eat. Food is very magical, and the things we put into food have magical properties, whether it's basil or thyme or mint, oregano, basil. All of these things have healing properties. It is me, isn't it, Deb? It's so me. Had to have it. So this theme for this witch's box is all about the kitchen witch. And I'll just show you the kitchen, and it gives you a little detail about the kitchen witch. And I'm going to start off first with what they sent me. This disappeared on me, and I finally found it. Like I said, I have two daughters, and then they rip these open and look through them, and then pick and choose what they want, but then I have to tell them, you have to put it all back until I'm done doing my podcast on this so I can show and tell. But the first thing that came is, it's called Moroccan Mint. You always get a little tea blend. With Tamed Wild, compared to the Inked Goddess, which was the last one I did, Tamed Wild always sends a little tea. So if you're a teetotaler, which I am, and I have 2 daughters who love to drink tea as well, this is called Moroccan Mint. And Moroccan, I don't know if you're familiar with herbs, some of you out there. It's minty. It's delicious. If you're not familiar with herbs, let me just tell you something about mint on a holistic level. If you ever, in Italian, when we get like indigestion, it's called agita. When we get agita, as I call it, there are certain, you could take your Pepto-Bismol, you can take your Tums, and tis the season for overindulgence. Too much food, too much drink, making merriment. I get it. Mint tea is excellent for helping with that. I don't want to say agita again because some of you don't know what I'm talking about, but that verklempt feeling? No, that feeling of like too much food, indigestion. That's the word I'm looking for. Mint tea is great with that. A little bit of honey, and I guarantee you in an hour your indigestion will go away. When I was pregnant, I got a lot of indigestion, and mint tea was a godsend. So Moroccan mint tea. All right, and then we get, let's see, I already did the mint. Okay, then we have this wooden box, and this wooden box, little wooden box. You open the wooden box up. It's just a little treasure box. It's really pretty. I mean, this box that I spent was $20. The Ink Goddess one is $30. It's really cute. It's a little treasure box, and what they are instructing you to do, if you so desire to follow the instructions, is they want you to place an etched bay leaf within this ritual box to allow the intention to ripen. Only remove when ready to incorporate into a meal. So I'll use this as a perfect example. Since I'm thinking of relocating, I'm going to take a basil and I'm going to charge it with some intention of safe travels, housing, whatever I need. I'm going to put it in there and let it sit, and then probably on the new moon, which is about January 26th, I will use this basil to make, or a bay leaf, to make some sort of a stew, lentil soup, pasta sauce, chili if you want, something. New intentions in a healthy, hearty food. Then it gives you a little spoon. Isn't this cute? And the little spoon with that. And the little spoon is to invoke the energies of the kitchen witch anytime with this mini spoon. The wooden teaspoon is perfect for measuring herbs and stirring your tea when you're on the go. So it can be used for anything. It can even be used for your, this can be put in your magical pantry if you would like. It's perfect for that. And you don't have to use this for the basil or the bay leaf. You know me, I like to burn my bay leaves with little wishes on them and burn them. And I usually do that at the end of the year. So you don't have to do what it says exactly here to do if you don't want to. If you're kind of like me, I always go rogue on things. It's not that I don't follow directions. It's just I'm an old crone. I'm stuck. I do things differently because I've had enough experience, and I know what will work and what won't work. The only beauty of getting old. All righty. And then after that, we have, oh, this is really cool. This, I was really impressed with this. This is so well worth 20 bucks. You get in this container 3 bottles of some of the most magical stuff. Let's start out with, first you get a jar of, I'm going to hold that as still as I can, black sea salt. Okay. I've made my own sea salt, and for those of you who aren't familiar with what black sea salt is, black sea salt is, I use it for purifying and protecting and cleansing the area, but in addition to, you can add it into salads and vegetables or anything else normally to season with salt. So it's ingestible. It's salt, and you can season your food with black sea salt. However, I probably wouldn't do that because I try not to use a lot of salt in my cooking, just for health reasons. But like I said, it's mostly used for protection, and like it says here, it is used commonly for protection, banishment, purification, or rituals involving shadow work. So black sea salt, excellent for all those 4 things I just mentioned. Next up is a lovely little jar of allspice. Allspice, I just love the smell of allspice. It just smells like Christmas, or even Thanksgiving. Allspice. Allspice. Add a pinch to hot cocoa, seasonal cocktails, and homemade gingerbread loaf to generate love, luck, abundance, and creativity. So remember, love, luck, and abundance. Allspice. Allspice is also good if you're making like little love sachets. I know a lot of my witchy friends make a lot of homemade gifts, and they're beautiful. From spices to sachets to soaps, body lotions. This is an excellent one. Salt is antimicrobial too. Yes, it is. Very good. Thank you. Antimicrobial. Ooh, that's a hard one to say sometimes. But allspice for love and creativity and wealth and luck in general. The next one is common sage. Common sage is great for putting on. I like to put a little sage on my chicken. If you don't eat meat, then on something else, but into stews and stuff. Common sage. No, I'm a sage nut. When I burn sage all the time in my house. It's either I'm burning sage or Palo Santos. But here it says that try making sage and basil pesto, vegetarian stuffing, or sprinkle over homemade pizza. Sage is a powerful plant ally when seeking wisdom, divine guidance, awareness, or psychic abilities. And that's very true. Sage is, but sage is also a great purifier and protector and getting out and ridding your energies. A lot of people burn this when you move into a new house. You burn this. Now, for me, I double up. Okay. I will use my special blend of Paleo Santo oil spray that I've created, which I will eventually get on my website. I just haven't had time. And burn sage. I do a double whammy just to get all the energy out, and I open all the windows so that whatever's in there can leave. Get those spirits out that don't want to stay. If they want to stay and they're all good spirits, I don't mind living with ghosts. We have a few that live in the house, and they're actually not, they're not, evil in any way. They're ghosts, and it is what it is. I've had actually a bit of a chat with these ghosts about when I move, that, you know, the next family that moves in here, they're not like us, you know. We're witches, so we welcome, we love talking to the dead. You might not get that type of family in next time. So I've had this one-to-one discussion with our ghosts in the house. Anyway, that was common sage. And then they give you a little packet of bay leaf. And like I said, I think I've done a video on this where I write the intention on the bay leaf. Yes, I prefer it too. Deb's saying I prefer it to most humans, most definitely. I think this is why I prefer my animals over humans. Humans and or animals and ghosts. I just lately I really can't tolerate the human race. I just can't. It's just awful. And when I talk about politics with people, it's me coming from a spiritual realm and a celestial realm. And I said something the other day that someone just lost it. And those of you, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Let me finish up this first. But bay leaf. And like I said, if you're want to do a wishing spell, which isn't included in this witch box, this is my own little thing, write your wish on here in a pen. Light a white candle, anoint it with frankincense and myrrh. Meditate on what you want. You know, if you want better health, if you want a better job, if you want love to come into your life, specify that on here. I know it's a small little area, and even writing in code would be okay. You know what it is, and your intention you're putting into it is fine. And you could take the bay leaf and burn it and make your wish. They gave it to me for cooking purposes, because this is a kitchen witch themed box. So bay laurel. Bay laurel leaves are the perfect amount of spice to stews, roasts, magical teas. They're also revered for their magical properties, specifically the ability to grant wishes. As I was telling you, you can do the wishing spells with them. For this ritual, use a toothpick or a knife to etch a word, picture, or symbol into the leaf that represents a wish or intention. And then it tells you to go on further. You put it in the box, let it sit probably through the dark moon, and then use it in your soup or stew. That's one way you can use it. I'm not going to use it that way. I'm going to keep the box for little treasures, or maybe even a little gift for somebody. And I'm going to use these from a wishing spell that comes on the new moon on December 26th. Of course, I will be on the road at that time, but I always bring a little magic with me wherever I go. So I'll bring these with me, and my mother and my daughter and I will do this ritual in Arizona. And that is about it for this month's. Yep, I covered it all. In the weeks to come, I am going to cover more politics with the politicians. You can tell I'm avoiding this like the plague. So I had this conversation about 3 days ago with someone, and I'm just going to go on my little rant here, and then I'm going to get off of here. But someone asked me, well, what do you see coming for the election of 2020? And I have researched it somewhat. And first of all, election day, we're in a Mercury retrograde. Okay, so there's going to be some issue, hanging Chad like there was in 2000. There's going to be some sort of mechanical failure of some sort. Then people were asking me about all the politicians running. And, you know, I mean, for God's sake, you know how many Democrats are running? I can't run every person's chart. I don't have that kind of time. I just can't. It was like this 4 years ago when it was about 16 or 17 Republicans running. I'm like, let it dwindle down first. That's what I'm doing with the Democratic side. I have to let it dwindle down. Once that happens, I can start doing charts for the politicians. I already have a few I've already done from the last election, which was Bernie Sanders. Luckily, I don't have to go over Hillary Clinton's anymore, or anytime soon. Knock on wood. But someone asked me about Trump the other day, and I said to them, I said, well, first of all, let's talk about Trump's stars for a minute, because he's a Gemini and he has a dragon's head in Gemini. Now, the tail of his dragon is in Sagittarius, right on his 7th house, partnerships, contracts, and marriage. He will be divorced eventually. Melania will leave him. That's written in the stars. Okay. He's not very good with foreign leaders. He, as you can well tell what's going on, with that. However, he's a Gemini. He has duality. Things happen in 2s, 4s, and 6s with him. So he has the advantage to get reelected by his stars. Okay. He has the advantage to get reelected. Let me reiterate that to my fellow Americans. He has the celestial advantage to get reelected. Well, after what I said, that did not sit well with these people, and I was accused of all kinds of things. I was accused of, well, I'm not even going to go there. It was very political, and I just sat there and I said, I see things through different eyes. You're right. Reverend Deb says, knowing won't really change the horrors to come. So whoever it is not going to be pretty. I agree 100% with that statement. Here's what I do see. Okay, and as we get a little closer in the new year, once I'm moved and I'm settled and I got my mama taken care of and my daughter, I will be on here a lot more. Okay, and I'm going to get my business up and running much more. I'll have more time. I won't be as stressed out. But back to politics for a minute. Yes, he does have the stars to get reelected. I have to look deeper to see if he will get reelected. Okay, I have to look deeper into this before I say yes, he will, or no, he won't. Like I said, there's a Mercury retrograde during election day, so you know how that goes. Anything can happen with that. The impeachment. I don't know why we're wasting our taxpayer dollars on this, pardon my French, shit show. This is a waste of time because it's going to die in the Senate. It will go to Senate and it will die. And we've wasted time and money. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm really not. I'm just reading what I see in the stars for him. I do see some health problems too, underlying that he's not telling the public about. If it doesn't matter which one gets elected, if a Democrat gets elected as president or a Republican gets elected as president of the United States, there will be a civil war. That I see, and that is coming. And what I like is when I have psychics that back me up on what they're seeing. And my friend Renee Marie, she's seeing a civil war. She even saw his reelection. I don't know if the reelection is going to happen, but I'm going to look closer. But she is absolutely right. We are getting ready to hit a civil war. Whatever party that wins, the other party is going to create chaos. And that's not good. So that's why I don't dabble in politics. That's why I don't have stickers on my car. I keep who I'm for pretty much to myself. And there are some people in my family who don't even bother with it because they know it is one of the two evils. So that's just my little rant on politics. I feel like kicking myself in the rear end for actually even when next time someone asks me about politics and they're, as I call them, a muggle, uh, I'm just going to go, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm just going to play ignorant because it saved me a lot of aggravation. And I just can't bear to watch TV anymore with it. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, that was my little rant on politics. I mainly came on here to do my show and tell on the Tamed Wild Witch box. And I got on a little rant about the other thing only because I've been stewing about it for 2 days. And I didn't go on Facebook and post about it because, you know, I have a lot of friends on my Facebook that are Donald Trump supporters. I have a lot of people on my Facebook who loathe him. And I love each and every one of them, okay? And I'm not going to unfriend someone because of their political preference. The only thing I will unfriend you for is racism. That is the one thing I have no tolerance for. And it goes both ways because racism is not just a white person thing, even though you see in the news that it is white people that are constantly doing stupid stuff. No, I've been a victim of it here in Salinas, California. I'm going to give you a perfect example, and then I'm going to call it a day. I had someone pay to have his mother's star chart done, okay? He paid me and gave me the address. He wanted me to go there in person, and I was going to record it on my phone, you know, and she was in her 70s, and she's really into the stars and astrology and all of this, so he thought it'd be a really, really nice gift for her. This happened last year, last holiday season, when I was running my specials. I get to her house, and I knock on the door, and she opens the door, and she starts rattling something off to me in Spanish, and I'm like, you know, no, I'm trying to speak a little bit in Spanish, and she told me to leave. I'm like, okay. So she kept calling me a derogatory name in Spanish that I'm not going to repeat. And so I was like, okay. So the process of me driving all the way to the other side of town and wasting my gas and my time, I did refund him except for $15 for my time and my gas. And he asked, well, what happened? And I said, I think it would be best if you found a astrologer who is Latino. I'm half Italian. I am Latino. We speak a Latin language. You know, my people are the original gangsters. But I was a victim of racism. You profiled and judged me by the color of my skin and not by the content of my character. That's my point. So that was my little issue last year, and so I am racism goes both ways is what I'm trying to say. We need to learn that we are all one. We all bleed red. We're all human beings, and it doesn't matter whether we are of, you know, the red man, the white man, the black man, the yellow man. 4 races equal 1 human race. So with that being said, you know what? I did want to add one more thing to the Tamed Wild. They also sent me these little cards. Like, isn't that cute? It's got a little moon phase, and you can write your ingredients. They're like recipe cards. I'll probably use these for magical work more than food. But I thought I'd show you that. I'm sorry I didn't show you that before. Anyway, that is my Tamed Wild one. I'm hoping the recording on this comes out much better. I think I'm done going live on YouTube anymore because of that. And eventually I'm going to start doing videos on Vimeo. My daughter's trying to get me on this Vimeo thing. And when I'm settled and everything, I'll get all of that sorted out for everybody. But I did want to get on here and just do that show and tell for you. And thanks for listening to my little rant about politics and racism. Very touchy subject for a lot of people. But needless to say, the lady who didn't want me to do her reading missed out on one hell of a reading. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just saying I would have enlightened her a little bit on things. But her loss, not mine. Anyway, thanks, Gail, for joining me today. And Deb, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Two of my favorite people. You guys are just always supportive of me, and I appreciate that. I'm small. I'm not big time, and I kind of like to keep it small for now. 2020 for Capricorns is going to be a good year. And in the weeks to come, like I said, I'm going to be off all next week. So I'm going to be doing a lot of predictions for 2020. I'm going to do since the full moon forecast was so terrible and it's been brought to my attention that I forgot to mention Sagittarius, I'm going to do the 2020 predictions for every sign, from Aries to Pisces, and what is going to happen in each sign for you guys for the coming year ahead. So look forward to that in the next week or so. I'll get that all together. And ladies, thanks for joining me. Make it an awesome day. Blessings.